NC State football lines up for the third time in just 14 days tonight in Winston-Salem, kicking off 2025 ACC play. Do the Wolfpack have what it takes to earn a road win?
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack your first listen each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Thursday Game Day episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Football season is now here. It is no longer around the corner. So what that means for you, get over to the FanDuel app today and start placing all of your bets for this future football season. That's FanDuel.com in order to get started today. Happy Thursday. Happy game day to all. As always, I'm Grayson Boone, joined by former Wolfpack defensive tackle Kenton Gibbs. Kenton, the NC State Wolfpack will be on the road this evening. It is a 7:30 kickoff out in Winston-Salem, taking on the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. We talked a little bit about some early storylines on our Wednesday show. We delved into what Wake brings to the table in this matchup in 2025. Something I meant to say yesterday that I will say now. In the last 12 meetings that we've had in Winston-Salem, do you want to take a guess at what NC State's record is? It's bad.
I'm going to guess 4-8.
3-9 in our last 12. 3-9 in our last 12 out in Winston-Salem. That is a trend that cannot continue. We're looking to add another one in the W column because it is sorely needed. Wake Forest is in a rebuilding year. NC State's looking to find some stable footing. Tonight, boot meets behind.
Yeah, the idea here is to reverse and buck a trend that's been going. I mean, Grayson's not talking about against this team in general. He's talking about just in Winston-Salem. So that goes back 24 years, all right?
Yes.
Goes back quite some time with having struggles in Winston-Salem. This NC State team cannot afford to take Wake Forest lightly here because this isn't the worst Wake Forest team that we have gone to Winston-Salem to see. And guess what? We haven't beaten all those teams. We have not done it. And there is something about Wake Forest. There's something in the air out there in Winston-Salem. There's something going on in the water there that just anytime we go out there, NC State just lags. We can't figure it out right. We just, the controller disconnects, if you will, for my gamers out there. It just doesn't go the way that it should for whatever reason. So I look at this and I say to myself, this is not a Wake Forest team that's going to be a conference championship contender. This is not a Wake Forest team that I think is going to be a contender for anything serious this year. I think a bowl game would be like their ceiling. But guess what? If you mess around and play around, you will be one of those W's that helps them on their way to reaching bowl eligibility.
By far the most irritating part about discussing that, Wake Forest, they have a lot of guys. They don't really know what they have on either end of the ball right now. They're a young team trying to figure it out on the fly. We said a lot of the same things last year, and we were super confident last year saying this is not a game NC State should be losing, or we predicted will lose, and then all hell broke loose, and you lost 34-30. That was a major fork in the road at that point of the season, kind of looking around like, oh my God, if we lost to Wake Forest, then what does that mean for the rest of the way? It was chaos. What's interesting is Coach Dorn spoke at ACC kickoff about being embarrassed about losing to ECU. And then they finally got things right, and they started the 2025 season with a win against ECU. What about being embarrassed and losing to Wake Forest last season? I think that you should be. I think that was an extremely embarrassing loss. And so tonight for the NC State Wolfpack is another opportunity to right some wrong. We're basically already talking about this anyway, so I'll go ahead and pose the question to you, Kenton. What is at stake tonight for the NC State Wolfpack?
I think a ton is at stake tonight. We talked about how this team needs to start the season off. Virginia Tech is looking a lot worse than we thought they would coming into the season. We are sitting at a situation where Duke and Darian Mensah have looked worse than we thought coming into the season. It is very realistic and reasonable to expect this team to be 4-0, 5-0, potentially 6-0 before they go see Notre Dame. It's very reasonable to believe that that's a possibility and a chance here, but that's going to hinge on winning this game. Grayson and I always say the most important game is the next one up. You conquered East Carolina. not in dominating fashion as the game first started off at. You found a way against Virginia. That's what good teams do. You find a way, even against a team like Virginia that's, not known as a national power or anything like that. This game to me is your redo at the first game. This game to me is your redo at that leave no doubt, this is who we are moment, because you had it. You started off the game in that manner against East Carolina, and then all of a sudden things just tapered off for whatever reason. This is that moment for you to say, all right, we didn't quite do it right the first time, but this time we are going to show that we are leaving no question about who we are and that we are a force to be reckoned with. A lot of the power rankings that have come out surrounding the ACC have NC State in the top half of the ACC. This is the spot where you earn it. This is the spot where you earn moving up. You don't earn moving up by squeaking by against Wake Forest. You definitely don't move up by losing in Winston-Salem. So we'll see where this team wants to be and what this team wants to be.
As the season goes on, any fan just wants to learn a little bit more about their team each and every week. Tonight, I think you learn a lot about NC State this season in 2025. It's the first road game of the year. It's the first ACC game of the year, and it's an opportunity for some payback losing to Wake Forest last year. Obviously, we have young players still on both sides of the ball, and it's been a little bit disconjointed early in our first two games. What does it look like when you're not playing in front of the Wolfpack faithful? Well, it probably will be red anyway, but what does it look like when you're playing away from home? What does it look like for this team when you struggle a little bit and the other team is so fired up, like they are treating it, and I hate to use this term because it's so generalized now, but Wake is treating this like a Super Bowl. They got celebrity guest appearances. They're pleading with their fan base to show up and wear black. They've tweeted like every single day this week. They still have tickets available. Please come to this game. They're trying to make this a raucous environment, which has not fared well in the past for NC State over in Winston-Salem. So for NC State, my question is, what will you show us tonight? What have you learned from the first 2 weeks that you will build upon and perfect, hopefully, tonight in game 3? That's what I want to know. I want to know how this defense will make improvements against an inferior offense. Wake Forest, just as bluntly as I can tell you, it's only 3 games, but they are the least talented team that we've seen up to this point. Will NC State put the hammer down and take care of business early? That's something we have not seen yet. Will they come out on fire, stay on fire, and then blow out a team on the road? That would be an impressive showing for NC State, and I think that is something that they need right now. Can they do it? Questions that we don't have answers for quite yet. So I think there's a lot at stake for NC State tonight, and of course, piggybacking off of Kenton's point, this game is super important for the rest of your season as well, at a standpoint of you have a chance to go 3-0, and then you have to play Duke, and then you have to play Virginia Tech, and then you have to play Campbell. You have a real shot at being 6-0 halfway through your schedule. That's a great spot to be. In fact, that is the ultimate spot that you could ask NC State to be through 6 weeks. This game tonight is a massive hinge point upon that. So NC State has to show up with intensity for all 4 quarters and play complementary football, because like I said yesterday, if you do that, it will be enough. Coming up next, we're getting into Kenton's keys for the Demon Deacons. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our first Thursday sponsor is DoorDash. It's almost the weekend, which means it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving you more every time you order. These players delivered when it matters the most. Let's break it down. For the NC State Wolfpack last week in week 2, running back Hollywood Smothers delivered in a big way. 17 carries, 140 yards on the ground, and 2 rushing touchdowns. Hollywood Smothers came through with 0 hesitation. And if you've been watching week after week, then you already know this performance was not a fluke. And just like Hollywood delivered for the Wolfpack, DoorDash can deliver for your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every Saturday that you order. Stacking it up all season long, you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday and keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, and the promo period lasts from right now to November the 18th. Middle portion of our Thursday game day show. It is now time for Kenton's keys, detailing what NC State must do tonight in order to beat Wake Forest. Here we go.
The first key, have a day, CJ. I need to see CJ Bailey finish with a QBR of 75 plus. And I know some people are going to say 75, that seems a little high because, again, 50 is average. Grayson, what's his current QBR in the season?
It is currently 84.7, good for 12th best in the entire country.
12th best in the country, tied for 4th best in the conference. I am literally asking him to perform at the level that he has so far this season. And the funny thing about that is Grayson just said this is the least talented team you'll see or that you've seen so far this season. So
maybe all year outside of Campbell.
Right. So that should be, this should be no problem at all for CJ. Do good things with the ball, take care of the ball, make good decisions, use your legs as you've done all year. If it's not there through the air, go ahead, tuck it, and make something good happen.
Our second offensive key?
Rumble, Hollywood, rumble. I need 125 total yards from Hollywood Smothers. Kurt Roper is going to feed him. One thing that we've seen with Kurt Roper, outside of Justin Jolie, he's going to force feed these stars the ball. And with that being said, Hollywood, if you're going to be one of those stars that he force feeds, make the best out of it. Give me 125 total yards.
A third and final offensive key?
Last but not least, keep away wins the day. Finish the game without a turnover. When I think about this Wake Forest defense, I ask myself, can they do it right over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? Even if they get a stop here and there, even if they come out hot and get a couple stops early, can they consistently do that if you do not give them the ball back? I'd wager no. But what makes that easier is when you do turn the ball over, because then defenses get confidence, your offense gets a little rattled. Now all of a sudden, a team that was dedicated to the run don't want to run the ball as much anymore, or a team that was dedicated to airing it out, throwing it deep, all of a sudden gets very conservative and in the shell. So keep away. I'm not saying you need a ton of time of possession. I'm saying that anytime they stop you should be because they stopped you, not because you gave the ball to them.
As much as we marveled about the NC State offense last week against UVA, this week presents an even better opportunity to showcase all the talent that we have in this NC State offense. Wake Forest, again, with all due respect, most likely is going to provide you with the least amount of defensive resistance, again, outside of Campbell for the entire season. So for CJ Bailey, you are tasked with taking care of the football, making the smart read, the smart throw, tucking it when necessary, but not getting yourself into trouble, getting rid of it when the time comes as well. That means you're also tasking Hollywood Smothers with having a great day. And ipso facto, the offensive line compounding off of their week 2 performance and playing potentially even better in week 3. And then, of course, your skill talent, your wide receivers, and Justin Jolie, the tight end position, they should have a field day tonight. Wake Forest secondary, it's a little bit of a mess. And so for NC State, take what the defense gives you, don't make mistakes, and you should have a pretty fun night. Now, moving over to defense and special teams, key number 1.
Stop the demon known as Demond Claiborne. That is, ladies and gentlemen. The young man is phenomenal. If you can hold him to under 100 total yards, you are going to be okay in this game. If you make everybody else beat you except Mr. Claiborne, you'll be just fine. But the problem is stopping him on paper, saying stop that guy is easy. The action part of it, very hard, because he's the type of back, you give him a little bit of daylight. Next thing you know, he's on the other side of it and getting ready to do a little jig in the end zone.
Our second defensive key.
Second, close out drives. Get your tail off the field. Hold them to less than 30% on 3rd and 4th down conversions. What we saw last week was abysmal. You cannot have teams converting. You did a phenomenal job to stop the run. You did a phenomenal job to stop them in early downs. And then on 3rd down, oh, yeah, for sure, we'll give them 9. Oh, yeah, we'll give them 11. Oh, yeah, we'll give them 12. You cannot do that in this game. Again, letting teams hang around builds confidence. It builds confidence, and that confidence helps players start playing above their head, start playing better. You have to get off the field on 3rd downs when you have the opportunity. Hold weight to 30% or less on 3rd and 4th down conversions.
And our third and final defensive key?
The last key, the hay is in the barns, also known as Chris Barnes. That young man is a phenomenal speed demon. He is the type of guy, he's a threat to take it a distance from wherever on the field he gets it. You have to find ways to get in his face, to bump that young man, to bracket him, to do whatever you can to make him have to beat you, have to work for it, not just playing off soft coverage and saying, he might drop it. No. He's the type of guy, you let him get underneath, he makes one guy miss, and all of a sudden, you're sitting there wondering, how did the game get 6 points closer?
As we detailed on our Wednesday show, the Wake Forest offense is essentially a three-headed monster. One of those heads is a lot bigger than the other two, and that's Damon Claiborne. But quarterback Robbie Ashford and wide receiver Chris Barnes are the other two real threats to beat the NC State defense in this one. Now, I'm not saying that Wake Forest has entirely nothing else that they can look to, but those are the three guys. If you get gashed in any way, I'd be willing to bet you it's going to be one of those three. And so for NC State's defense, coming into this game, we know what the weak points have been: giving up explosive, closing out some of the run fits, or just purely executing a run fit that you have correct, but completing the tackle and getting off the field. Too many times already in our first two games of the year, we've been in third and long situations, which is great that you got there, but then we end up giving up the first down and the drive gets extended. And then after that, the defense gets tired a little bit, and that's where you get gashed. Damon Claiborne, he will gash you if you allow him to. He absolutely will. He did multiple times last season in Raleigh. For NC State's defense and DJ Elliott, you know what you're up against. You know who their stars are. You know who you have to stop. Go out, execute the game plan, execute the tackles, get off of the field, and allow your offense to cook. It is quite literally that simple. If you beat Damon Claiborne, beat Wake Forest. There's your key.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's it. I feel like, Grayson, you've said it. You've said what DJ Elliott needs to be saying. You've said what needs to happen in this game. Stop the head of the beast. This is not a team that has the depth and talent where it's like a hydra. You cut off one head, two more grow in this place. No,
This ain't that.
Not around here, player. Not around here.
Coming up next, we're going to give you our final thoughts and final score predictions ahead of tonight's game. This comes after a quick word from our sponsors. Our second Thursday sponsor is Mazda. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You can choose to get out there. You can choose your people. You can even choose to go for it. Like, really go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than just simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. And our third Thursday sponsor is FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel's making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can sign up today, bet just $5, and if that $5 bet wins, you'll get $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, it's easy, it's simply the best way to add just a little bit more energy to each and every one of your Sundays. So, are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com in order to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. If that thing hits, $300 back in bonus bets guaranteed. Head on over to FanDuel.com in order to get started. Last couple minutes of our Thursday game day show. Now time to empty the book here. Our final thoughts and our score predictions for tonight's game. Kenton, I'll let you kick us off.
Yeah, so I think there is some wicked energy out there in Wake Forest for NC State. It's always there. It's always present. However, I think that makes this game closer than it should be, but I don't think that NC State loses this game. I think that this is a game that we win more comfortably. I actually think we cover this spread as well. I think we cover this spread. I think it's a 34-24 victory by NC State.
I like that. Yeah, I also do think we cover the spread. Now, for those of you watching, you can see that the spread for this game is 7.5 in favor of the NC State Wolfpack. So just over a touchdown favorite on the road in Winston-Salem. Again, to reiterate, this is not a place that has treated us very kindly, especially in the last 12 years, just a 3-9 record. But tonight, you're picking up win number 4 in your last 13 tries. NC State is too talented to lose this game. And I know I've already said it in the show. We said that last year, and look what happened. I know. But NC State is purely like, this is a cannot lose game. There's must wins and there's can't loses. Tonight, actually, it might be both. It might honestly be both. You cannot lose to a first-year Jake Dickert on the road when they only really have one guy that can beat you. That's Damon Claiborne. CJ Bailey is too talented of a quarterback to go on the road and lay a duck like that. Hollywood Smothers is too talented of a running back to go on the road and not perform like he's been performing in the first 2 weeks. The skill talent on offense, even the defense, as many questions as we've had about the defense, Tonight is a get-right opportunity. Wake Forest offense, outside of Damon Claiborne, I will say that 34 more times before we kick this game off. If you can stop Damon Claiborne, or at least contain him to a certain degree, you will win this football game. Robbie Ashford, the quarterback, is not a very talented passer. He's too inconsistent. He doesn't make good decisions, and allow that to play into your hands tonight. It will benefit you greatly. So I, too, have NC State covering the spread here. I think they will win by 10-plus points. I have 34-14, actually 20 points. I think we lay it on them tonight. I think they are embarrassed from losing last year, and I think they hold nothing back. They beat Wake tonight by 20 points, 34-14. Now, I had a request. Shout out our guy Carson. They wanted to know some picks that I might have for this game. Now, of course, none of you are obligated to tail this. Tail at your own risk. This is purely suggestions, okay? But this is what I'm playing tonight. A little bit of payback for Wesley Grimes. Obviously, the Wake Forest transfer. I saw last season with my own two eyes, he was getting a lot of flack from some of those Wake Forest guys after losing that game. And I'd be willing to bet Wesley, he ain't forget any of that. I have him getting into the end zone tonight. That's an anytime touchdown for Wesley Grimes. And then piggybacking off of the idea of CJ playing well, I think he plays well. I think he goes over 225 passing yards. I think he probably finishes somewhere around 250. And I think he will throw at least 2 passing touchdowns on the. He has not yet done that this year. He has 1 in each game. Tonight, I think he has at least 2. So I have Wesley Grimes anytime touchdown, CJ Bailey 2+ passing touchdowns, and CJ Bailey also 225 passing yards. If you combine those for a 3-piece, that is plus 329. Please, please, please tail responsibly.
Hey, listen, I don't get into the betting and degeneracy of it all, but I will say this much. I would say that these 3 look pretty safe. Don't you go putting your mortgage on this now. Don't go doing no foolishness like that. But I would say that these are pretty safe. I mean, the revenge game angle for Wesley Grimes, big time there. And CJ Bailey has been in the situation where I don't think people thought much of his legs up till now in the season. And I think people are going to be more aware of that, which means you're going to see more spies. But if you see a spy, what does that mean? Somebody is either out of the pass rush or they're out of coverage. Either way, taking a player out of either one of those things to keep him in the pocket, sure, you'll keep him in the pocket. But that means that those DBs are going to have to cover longer or they're going to have to cover more ground.
Unrelated to my picks, Kenton, do you think Justin Jolie gets in the end zone tonight? Because the last 2 weeks, the two of us have predicted he'd score. Has not happened yet. And I also say this, he scored his first touchdown of the year against Wake Forest last year. Will he double up on that and get to pay dirt tonight?
In the words of Nevadius Wilburn, we got Justin Jolie picks. They thought it was a drought. I'm still rolling with my boy Jolie to get him a touchdown in this one because don't get me wrong, Anderson, the safety, big hitter, better in coverage than people give him credit for. However, I have a really good feeling about Justin Jolie getting targeted and all that. And towards the latter parts of yesterday or towards the latter parts of last game, when we needed him in the clutch, who did we go to? When things got tight in the clutch, who was our guy showing up like Johnny on the spot? Number 7. Well, let's get number 7-7 in this game. I don't want to have to put Granny Boone back in the cage. Me and Grayson will be there in Winston. So if Granny Boone gets in the cage, he can't let her out immediately after the touchdown. She's going to be in there until at least we get back to Raleigh. I'm just saying.
It's so funny that you beat me to it because I was just about to say, if we don't see Justin Jolie get in the end zone, I'm tweeting the cage. You're going to see the cage hit the timeline if we don't see 7 go for 7. I'm that serious. It's overdue. He's the best tight end in the country, for Pete's sake. Get him the ball and get him into the end zone. So as Kenton told you, the two of us will be in Winston-Salem this evening. If you're out and about, let us know. Maybe we'll run into you, say hello, give you a hearty go pack before this thing kicks off. So let us know if you're in the area. We'd love to meet y'all. But that will do it for us here on our Thursday game day show. NC State out in Winston-Salem this evening. It will be a 7:30 kickoff. It's actually the lone P4 game night. We have a standalone game on ESPN. Take advantage of it, Dave Dorn. We are a 7.5-point favorite. We both do expect NC State to cover that and some. Let us know what y'all think in the comments. Be sure to hit that like button. Drop all of your comments in the comment section. Mash that subscribe button if you have not already. It will be a late one on Thursday night, but we will see you post-game. As always, our post-game live following the conclusion of this game. Until then, go Pack.
Go Pack.